Hi everybody, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, we have a couple of warnings out there from the United States government about travel. One is from the CDC about a concerning rise in a particular disease that's going around in the Caribbean. We also have a level threat warning raised to level 3. And it's kind of serious because people are being kidnapped and held for ransom. We'll talk a little bit about what's going on there. We also have the Godmother of the Star of the Seas has just been announced. Wonder who that is? Can you guess so far? And finally, let's talk about Royal Caribbean on the Ovation of the Seas in 2026 canceling Juno on a lot of their sailings. So the United States has just put out a level 3 travel warning for Puerto Vallarta. And one of the reasons there is a particular rise in a trend that has been going on now for the past year or so. And that is a con that is happening with dating apps. So apps like Tinder or something along those lines where you're meeting up with people you may not know, people you think you have a relationship with, like on people who are being catfished, etc. And they're rendezvousing with these folks only to be kidnapped and then held for ransom afterwards. So it's particularly happening to younger people. So we want to make a warning out there to let your young children, teenagers, young adults, everybody out there aware of this situation who may be the people who are using these apps more than the older folks out there. A lot of us older folks wouldn't have no idea how to use an app like Tinder. So I won't fall for this, but it is a growing trend and it's happening more and more, so much so that they've raised the threat level in Puerto Vallarta to level 3 because of that one situation that's going on. So everyone should be well aware that this is going on. Be careful who you're rendezvousing with in foreign countries. That goes for any country. Whether you're meeting somebody off Facebook or Instagram or anything like that, you better make sure you know who they are for sure. Okay, another warning that's going on is by the CDC this time, and no, it's not COVID. They're not warning us of COVID or the norovirus this time. They're actually warning us about the dengue fever, which is transmitted by mosquitoes. And it is on the rise now from people returning from certain countries like Guadeloupe, Samoa, Fiji, Mexico, etc. There's coming in from Cuba, coming in from Colombia, all kinds of destinations. I think there's a list of like 15, 16 countries out there that it has all been tracked to, and there have been hundreds of thousands of cases across the globe, and now there's a huge rise in the United States of passengers coming back from cruise ships or flights from various destinations, and they've contracted the disease. Now, it can lead to severe hemorrhaging, it can lead to organ failure, it can be very serious. While the vast majority of it can be treated, if it's not caught in time, you can definitely run into some trouble. Now, the best way, of course, to protect yourself is to be wearing longer sleeve clothes, long pants, not shorts out especially into the woods or anything like that, where you're going ATVing or you're going into tubing down a river. Make sure you're covered as much as possible. And at the very least, use mosquito repellent. That will at least protect you a little bit from the insects traveling around and hopefully protect you from getting this fever. It is vastly this year on the rise, and last year was the most recorded cases in the United States in decades. So we want to be very aware of this situation while we're traveling. Next, the Star of the Seas has announced the Godmother. And it is none other than famous singer Diana Ross, formerly of Diana Ross and the Supremes, and she did launch into her own solo career afterwards as well. Very well-known singer, and she's going to be performing, hopefully, a number or two when she does the inauguration of the Star of the Seas when the ship arrives in United States in August. Coming up very soon. So pretty excited about that. Congratulations to her. I know she's very honored to be named as the Godmother. I heard her do a speech the other day accepting how thrilled she was to be the Godmother of the cruise ship. So very glad to see her recognized for that. And finally, I'm going to talk about Royal Caribbean on one ship so far, perhaps more. The Ovation of the Seas is canceling a cruise port, Juneau, in Alaska in 2026 for many of her sailings. But before I get there, let me just invite you to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. If you want to keep up to date with everything going on in cruising, from the news that's happening, from the travel warnings that are out there, from hints and tips how to save you money, make your cruises just a little bit less stressful and a little bit more enjoyable. Hopefully your cruises all go smooth, but you never know. If the more you're knowledgeable about what's happening when you're going on your cruise, the better off you'll be. I hope to keep you as best informed I can, and I hope you'll join me. It's a pretty simple story. That's all I got to say. All right. Royal Caribbean on the Ovation of the Seas has canceled many stops in Juneau, Alaska, and is substituting it for others, saying port availability right now is the reason behind it. Now, no other ships have been changing due to port availability. Now, the Ovation of the Seas is one of the larger ships that are sailing in Alaska. And remember, just a few weeks ago, Juneau voted to change the way they tax the cruise ships. And instead of taxing by gross tonnage, they're now taxing by capacity. So the larger cruise ships with the larger capacity will have more taxes paid. And suddenly, the Ovation of the Seas is finding a different cruise port to go to. Also remember that Royal Caribbean has made an agreement to build their own private dock over on Douglas Island side of Juneau. Still close enough to get to everything, but not under the jurisdiction of Juneau's tax system, which means they would not fall under Juneau's tax. They would be under a separate entity altogether. And that could be one of the reasons as well. They could be changing these because of the tax system. No official word other than port availability is all Royal Caribbean is. Let me know in the comments down below. Do any of those travel warnings concern you, especially, the fever, dengue fever? It's something I never think about when I travel. But with my past medical history, if I was to contract it, I'd probably have a more severe reaction than the average person, and maybe I should be a little more cautious as well. Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.